FCT Minister Nyesom Wike is once again rewriting the rulebook on Nigerian political strategy, declaring that he will not join the APC Presidential Campaign Council because he is not an APC member, but insisted that his absence from the council does not mean that he's not committed to delivering votes for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let's watch.
Let me tell you, in 2023, I was a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council. I was not there. But did I support President Tinubu? Yes. People don't understand why I cannot. It's not that one is not qualified, who is more qualified than me. But let me tell you the history. Why I would not want to be, even if the president calls me to say I want you to be, I will say no. He will say why? I say, let me tell you the history. In 2015, the Minister of Transport was the governor of Rivers State. He was the DG of Muhammadu Buhari. Before he knew, I put the campaign off his feet. He lost it. He didn't get 25%. In 2019, he was Minister of Transport. He became the DG. He lost the state too. Olusegun Saraki, Abubakar Saraki was the DG of Atiku campaign in 2019. He was running around doing articulate. I called him. What are you doing articulate? Go home. He lost his state, lost his own seat too. In 2023, Abubakar became DG of Atiku. He lost his state. In the same 2023, Lalong was the DG of the present president. He lost his state. I don't want to lose my state. I will be in my state. I have two states, FCT and Rivers State. What's important is, are you able to deliver those two states? So it's not about being DG. If you are a DG, you don't win your state. What's the essence of the DG? So everything matters about state. It's not about being a member of the campaign council. Every politics is local. If you cannot deliver president in your state, so how will you say you won election? If you lose your own state, even if you're a DG, you'll be ashamed. When you say you won, you say you won what? You use my word to say you won. Why did you win in your own state? So for me, those things don't matter. Anybody who knows that you have something to contribute, you don't need to put it yourself.
But Wike also declared over the weekend that his job is to give Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi high blood pressure, saying he wants to make them sick throughout the elections. He dismissed the opposition entirely, insisting that there is no formidable opposition party in Nigeria today, with the PDP weakened by internal crisis. For the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Wike may be their most potent electoral weapon, as he's operating entirely outside their structure through his own rainbow coalition spanning Rivers, the FCT, Bayelsa, Benue, and Kwara states. Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Even though it didn't feel like I was gone, because I was working throughout.
Yes,
every single day I was producing. So everyone saying that I went on vacation holiday. No, I was working and I was producing my super producer. Anieze Osakwe. Very well done. Thank you all for holding for. Yes, she was fantastic. I mean, great. Thank you. So, I mean,
Sorry, before you go on the line, I must comment on your hair. I see the only is always black, but the woman on this table.
So my daughter inspired me. She told me, you have to do something different, Mom. You cannot keep it up like this. But people don't think I changed my hair. I do. I changed my hair. I like.
I can see.
I like.
Well, it looks lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you to your daughter.
End it. We know some people that came here, they were using Yaba. If you are upgrading, you are ending. You deserve it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And of course, finally I looked through our live stream, during my production, and I saw, because obviously I was trying to take some comments. So I'd like to encourage our YouTube live stream viewers to try to post more constructive, comments so that we can actually read them online. I'd love to do that. And shout out to some of my online husbands. There's one called Zubi. Hello. Zubi. Yes, I finally saw it for the first time. But anyways, now I'd like us to, discuss this APC Presidential Campaign Council. Obviously, that's the biggest story over the weekend. There are several reports that have been bandied around, but I'll read through all these stories and I'll come to you for reactions. Meanwhile, reactions are trailing the inclusion of several controversial figures in the APC Presidential Campaign Council. First is former Humanitarian Affairs Minister Betta Edu, who was named Deputy Director of Women's Mobilization. Betta Edu was suspended by President Tinubu in January 2024 after a memo surfaced directing the transfer of 585 million naira to a private account. Another controversial figure is former chairperson of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund, Ngozi Olejeme, who was appointed South-South Zonal Director for Election Planning. Olejeme is currently facing trial over alleged 1 billion naira money laundering. And then Nigerian Revenue Service Chairman Zak Adedeji, the man responsible for collecting government revenue, was named Deputy Director of Fundraising. The ADC has described the council as a rehabilitation center for corruption suspects, while former Kogi West Senator Dino Melaye has vowed to challenge Adedeji's appointment in court, asking in a video posted on his social media how the man responsible for collecting Nigerians' taxes can simultaneously be in charge of fundraising for a political campaign. He also criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's role as chairman of his own campaign council. Let's take a look.
This is the first time in the history of the universe and the entire world that a presidential candidate of a political party will double as the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council for his own election. I mean, it can never get worse than this. It shows they are jittery, it shows they are afraid, it shows that Tinubu knows that even the governors in his kitty cannot be trusted. He knows that his ministers cannot be trusted. He knows that there will be an internal implosion within the APC. So that is why he wants everything to be reported directly to him as the chairman of the Presidential Campaign Council. And the most important aspect of the list that was released by the APC is to see the chairman of FIRS, the body that collects our revenue as a nation. The chairman of FIRS is the deputy director or deputy chairman or whatever it is for fundraising for Tinubu's presidential campaign. Is there no conflict in this? As a lawyer, by the grace of God, Monday I'm heading to court. We have to test that. If that is not conflict of interest, I don't know what else it will be. That a man who is a public servant, a man who is a salary earner, a man who is supposed to observe the provisions of the public, the ethos, is not just supporting Tinubu. He is a member of the Presidential Campaign Council and he is the deputy director in charge of fundraising. And meanwhile, you are in charge of revenue collection of the Republic of Nigeria. Mogbe, how did we get here? How did we get here?
How did we get here? I'll take some reactions. Turning Point wrote on X, the large number of elected officials and political appointees now serving as campaign organizers and cheerleaders only exposes how jobless and ineffective they are. Instead of focusing on their actual duties, they have abandoned governance to campaign for a failed government. Now, Nelson wrote, you guys in the APC are truly immune to scandals and shame. How can you include the chairman of NRS, Zacchaeus Adedeji, a man in charge of the nation's revenue collection, as part of the APC's Presidential Campaign Council and as the DD fundraising? Don't you guys think, I mean, this is the question that is out there, and I know that you are reading, some of the names that, have been bandied around. I'd like your comments because we also have a report from the Wheel. This is just one report from the Wheel, and I'll read out that one really quickly. And the Wheel this morning states that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the reshuffling of the APC Presidential Council. According to the report, party leaders were concerned over the exclusion of a number of experienced campaigners, including the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, Plateau South Senator Simon Lailong, and National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. As a result, the President has ordered the National Working Committee to withdraw and review the initial composition and release a new list. I mean, this was the concern. I thought it was something else. Like, I thought it was something about the controversial people that have been named. You know, people, I mean, this report is just from The Real, but throughout the week, we'll continue to highlight the story. But go ahead.
Audrey, so what I'm detecting that is shocking me now is that the DG of NIMC, the man who's all our... The lady, all right, whose all our data are domiciled in their hands on the campaign council, that's a breach of our data. So that means you are giving open access to people that have our data on this, and that's an unfair advantage. I mean, I don't agree with Dino Melai on everything, but I think on this, if he says it's going to go to court, I think it should be made to go to court. Secondly, is Nigeria Revenue Service. And I think for positions like that, I don't think politicians should be brought into positions like that. I think people should be made to go up the ladder because of the institutional integrity of that position. It's also sad. But apart from the fact that other people too, there's one allegation of corruption or the other. For instance, Senator Yari, the man that is even the DG of the campaign council, didn't just forfeit some property to EFCC as early as 2022 here. So look at what's it called? Better I do that the case, we've not even looked at the case completely. And EFCC should come out openly. I'm going to call out EFCC today. Because we revisited the case of Better I Do, somebody else came to give new evidence. Halima.
The Haji Halima, yes.
And the woman is ready to talk. Since then, I would have thought that EFCC should have even called her in and revisited the case. So EFCC definitely has a boon and an interest in this Better I Do case. If they don't, after Halima came to speak, why didn't they revisit the case? You talked about Olejeme.
Yes.
That one too is also there. So, I mean, it speaks volume. But the things I'm even more concerned, because me, I'm a data person. The DG of a data, body in Nigeria, they have access to all of our data, being on the campaign council is unfair. And our data is at stake. And that's why you see a lot of people don't trust even giving the data to the government, and they're going to use it for election purposes. There's no way they're going to exonerate themselves. So Nigeria should make a lot of noise now as regards all of this. There's no way. They have access to our data. They have access, if there are people too that they've given money through cash transfer, they have access to it. So they can funnel vote buying through cash transfer without you being seen it publicly.
Right. You spoke about Yari, and I'd like to highlight our picture of the day. And it's a photo that has garnered thousands of views on social media, showing the newly appointed APC Campaign Council Director General, Senator Abdulaziz Yari, meeting with billionaire businessman Yari Otedola in Monaco, with Otedola congratulating Yari on his appointment. But the meeting is generating significant online commentary, given the two men's complex business history. In December 2025, Otedola sold his controlling 77% stake in Geregu Power PLC to Yari's Mamam Energy Limited in a landmark $750 million deal, only for Geregu to default on a 6 billion naira bond repayment just 8 months later in July 2026. Senator Yari has since given his firm assurance that all bond obligations will be met in full, declaring that the company is taking all necessary steps to protect the interests of stakeholders and bond holders. Femi Otedola posted the photo on his social media, and Nigerians online are questioning the motive behind the meeting, asking if it was purely a congratulatory meeting or unfinished business. Dr. Bati, I'd like to come to you on this story because obviously it was trending all over social media. You know the history of, the Geregu, and obviously the fact that Yari has been, appointed the DG of the campaign council, meeting with Femi Otedola.
Well, I don't know. It's not a subject that interests me.
Yeah.
What Femi Otedola does with Senator Yari,
yes,
the bottom line is that they are best business partners. What is important is the interest of stakeholders and bondholders, people who have invested in that Geregu PLC. We had a guest on this program and we were saying, look, how can 6 billion be an issue when you can source money to put down about 40 billion. I'm really not interested in the issue. I would have wanted to comment on the more substantive issue about the Presidential Campaign Council of the APC.
Yes, you can comment. You can comment on both, because we have stories that are trending and we bring them up to the table. So Ayo, you would comment on that so that we can all
on the APC Presidential Campaign Council. First, I think that the list is unwieldy.
Yes.
I almost stopped when I got to number 223 on that list, and then the list started again about advisors, about parliamentary mobilizers, and all of that. Does the president need almost about 500 people to have a proper campaign? Second, we are thought when it was reported that the president has recorded the list, that the president will be responding to some of the concerns that have been raised. But now you say that, in fact, what the Wheel newspaper is reporting is that the list will be further expanded, turning it into a gathering of the tribes. But the most substantive issues are the issues that have been raised by commentators, and they are issues that have to do with signaling with specific regard to maybe Mrs. Ngozi Olojeme and also Betta Edu. In Nigeria, we say that a person is innocent until proven guilty. Now, the cases in which those two persons are involved, they've not been resolved. They've not been convicted. So it just says a signal that, okay, these people have issues. Why are they given these positions? And that's why we say that there should be clarity about many of these cases.
Yes.
Number two is about institutional involvement. Now, there's nothing in the law except maybe Section 84, sub 12 of the Electoral Act, that says if you are a civil servant and you want to get involved in partisan issues, then you must recuse yourself. But in this particular case, whether it is the NIMSI person or it is the NRS, Dr. Adedeji, or some other government persons that are on that list. Now, in terms of law, there's nothing that stops them. But it's the kind of assignment they've been given in terms of institutional association. If you say that the taxman, should now be in revenue generation, again, the kind of signal that it gives, is something else. If it's in information or it's in another kind of a committee, I don't think you can sustain the argument. You put the man in charge of a NIMSI, in charge of data management for the campaign, then people will say, well, this person has access to state resources. And there is a law that says you cannot use public resources to do your campaign. So these are some of the gray areas.
Very controversial.
The persons can be moved around, but there's no law that says, they cannot be part of the campaign of their own political party in which they are carrying members. The third part is that some of these persons too, who have been controversialized, they can resign. They don't have to be part of the political party campaign. Like the AGF, who is the moral compass, that's the Attorney General of the Federation, who is the moral compass in the Constitution, the only minister that is recognized twice in the Nigerian Constitution. So if legal issues come up much later, where would the Attorney General of the Federation stand?
Yes,
if he has to maybe take decisions. So there will be that bias. So it's about institutional connection, about precedence, and also about the moral signal. Otherwise, there are no serious legal issues.
The moral signal from me, and also from the ex-user that stated that are these people jobless? What's going to happen to governance if you're going to abdicate your duty to go into campaign full on? Are there other people that can be on the campaign council? But I'd like for you to talk about that and then quickly segue into the the Otedola story.
There are many things wrong with that list, and I say this because it's not just about the moral compass, the optics. Because whether or not, so they were speaking, I was like, whether or not they put their name on the campaign thing, if they say you're a member of a team, being an appointee of the president, then there's almost nothing you can do about this, because we have institutional failures in Nigeria. I say this because at the end of the day, in the 2023 elections, INEC had said that within 6 months post-election, there should be an audited account from each political party to find out their source of funding and how much money they were able to raise. Consistently, we do not see transparency in where these politicians are getting these huge sums of money to run their campaign. And that is why there's a breach of trust, whereby you see someone who ordinarily, like Okebasi said, according to the law, there's nothing wrong with him joining the campaign. You will link it to him using public resources for private campaign, because there's a lack of transparency and accountability when it comes to where campaign funds come from. And this is why we must continue to put pressure on INEC. Where are we getting all these billions that we are sharing? Yes, you say, oh, this person came and gave me money. Where is it coming? We want to see the audited accounts of the APC from the last election and this current one, to see that we do not mix public resources. And it's not just at federal level, at even government level, as subnationals, it's the same thing. It's the same thing when it comes to other things. Failure of institutions. In the other story, the Otedola story, SEC has been brought into question. Yes. And this was the same question that was asked when there was a defaulting of payment of dividends to the tune of 6 billion naira. It is also saying that irrespective of who the personalities involved are, let us have strong institutions that can protect the interests of the Nigerian people and uphold the rule of law in many instances. That's what we're asking for. The same cuts across for politics, and it's not just the APC, as I always say, across all parties. Where are you getting this money from? If it is public resources, then it is absolutely wrong, and it is wasting the commonwealth of the people for personal ambition. We want to see where the money is coming from.
So good. But as you mean the money that was used to
I'm saying that the reason why there's a lack of trust when you appoint someone like that is like because Yari. There's a fear, or even or is Mr. Adedeji, there's a fear that the lines will be crossed.
The Yari conversation being the DG of the campaign council. I mean, your thoughts on that?
Of Yari?
Of Yari, actually.
Yeah, before I already mentioned it, that there are people that have cases that are outstanding.
Correct.
He's not the only person that has a case that is outstanding. And then, sorry, just the last point on what was said about Tinubu being the chairman. You can see from his track record that he's perhaps a micromanager. He wants to be involved directly in everything that happens in his campaign. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People have different styles and personalities when it comes to leadership. What we should be calling for is accountability, transparency, and a question mark on certain personalities that we put in charge, despite this front of we are fighting corruption as a government. It doesn't look good at all.
All right, 2026 has... I would have loved it. I would have loved a comment on Wike quickly.
No.
Quickly.
I'm actually...
Endeavor. We love Wike.
Expert on Wike.
How did we forget Wike? Thank you for so many things.
I actually have positive
good.
I think that is street smart.
Yes.
The point that he has made about all politics being local is a very, wise position. There's a Yoruba folk wisdom that says that the misfortune that befell Baba Ladie should not befall Baba Ilewure. So this is a wicked behaving like Baba Ilewure. And he cited examples. He cited a number of Babaladiers who failed because they didn't concentrate on local politics.
Right.
Where I disagree with him is when he says, who is more qualified than me to lead the campaign for, that's delusional grandiloquence. But beyond that...
Positive. No, can you use those words again? Delusion, I always...
Delusional grandiloquence. But beyond that, I think his position is a very wise one. It's a very smart one.
I think so. He also says he wants to give the opposition high blood pressure. Pressure. Tiwa, go ahead.
I just quickly want to say something. You see, in all of these things you've talked about Yari and Otedola, you see, one question that Nigerians have not asked is, how did Yari get 1 trillion to buy Geriku?
Question. That was the question.
How did Yari, a man that what we know, he has only done politics in Zamfara all his life. Abi, can you before now show me factories owned by Yari? Can you before now show me investment owned by Yari? He rose up the political ranks. How did that man put down $750 million in this same Nigeria that you and me, okay, let me speak for us, me, I'm struggling to pay rent in this same country, and all he has only done is politics all our life.
Those are the questions.
Even SEC, when SEC approved the deal in December, I call it deal of the year, SEC didn't even ask
So it's the due diligence.
I've asked the question.
Yes, and you know, you asked the right question because those are the questions that are circulating online. He's paid the 6 billion repayment bond, just like that. And you know, the fact that story was so murky, we didn't, whose side who is on, whether or not is the Geregu that defaulted or Yari that defaulted. The former Geregu under Yari and Otedola or Yari that defaulted. Those are the questions. But Rufai, your point is well noted. We continue to highlight the story, and of course, he has said that he's going to keep the stakeholders and bondholders, to make sure that their shares are, well managed. Now, more on politics. And reactions are trailing Peter Obi's 2027 campaign launch after the NDC presidential candidate threw down the gauntlet to all presidential candidates over the weekend, declaring that every candidate must defend their credentials, their records, and subject their vision to open scrutiny, warning that anyone who hides behind power and sends surrogates to speak for them has no business asking Nigerians for their votes. Let's take a look.
Every candidate must be willing to present their credentials, defend their records, and subject their vision to open scrutiny. No candidate should hide behind the high walls of power, send proxies or surrogates to do the hostings, and expect Nigerians to entrust them with leadership of their country. Every candidate must seek the presidency must have the courage to come before the people, answer their questions, defend their records, and subject their vision to public scrutiny. True leadership requires presence and empathy. No one can lead from the front without standing with the communities across Nigeria devastated by banditry, criminality, terrorism, or flooding. You cannot truly lead a people you are unwilling to visit, listen to, and understand. Today, I make a clear commitment that I am Senator Rabi Kwankwaso will take our message directly to Nigerians. We will listen to them, understand their concerns, and engage them openly. We will not delegate this duty to process. We will answer the questions, defend our record and character, and present our plan to rebuild Nigeria. Any presidential candidate that lacks the resolve to travel across the country, meet the people, and respond to their questions lacks the capacity to govern it.
Ayo, Peter Obi knows exactly who he's talking to. And so does Nigeria. The challenge to defend credentials, defend records, and face open scrutiny is a direct shot at President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has yet to hold a single open press conference as the 2027 campaign season is now in full swing. And Nigerians are reacting. I'll take one post on X. And Newa wrote, Nigerians deserve more than campaign slogans and promises. If you want the highest office in the country, your record should be open to scrutiny, your credentials should be verifiable, and your plans should be clear enough for Nigerians to question. Let every candidate come out, defend their records, and tell Nigerians exactly what they intend to do differently. This ex-user spoke very well.
Very well. But I'm going to just now push it back to the Nigerian people.
Yes.
One thing that of the many things that the Osun State election taught us was that the power has now returned to the people. So it is the people that have the opportunity to make a decision as to whom they want as their leader. In order to do that, the people then must make demands on their prospective leaders. And part of the demands is because Tinubu can argue that, well, he didn't do all this press conference they're talking about and he still emerged as winner in 2023. So the question is, what do the Nigerian electorate want? What do you want from your leader? Is it enough for him to just appoint spokespersons in the spirit of teamship, or for other people to just release statements through surrogates? Or do you want a person who is speaking to you, engaging with you? And if that's the case, the leaders will comply. If the people make a demand on leadership, leadership has no choice but to comply. comply. So what we ask for, and I don't think he's incapable of doing that, it is just because the people do not seem to, as it were, in quote, the Nigerian elections do not seem to recognize people who hold, press conferences like this, interviews like that, attend debates, because at the end of the day, they win the election. So what you demand for is what your leaders will give. And so what the people should ask for is that they have a leader who can speak to them, explain their ideas, run through their campaign manifestos. What is the idea? Of course, you can see what has happened now. Many of us do not know whether or not, the plan for the fuel subsidy during election cycle, because there was not an opportunity to interrogate that plan with the now president. There was no opportunity like that. This is the future for Nigeria. Ask questions, make a demand. What you demand for is what the leaders will comply, because the power is truly in the hands of the people through your ballot.
Well said, Ayo. Ayo for president.
Thank you. It's been a while I've heard that.
Ayo for president. Our first female president.
Thank you.
Take it. All right. Well, all right.